My name is Mansor, reporting for All Israel News. Things are not looking good in Syria. The media might try to make it look good, but I'm a Druze. I was born in Israel. I have relatives in Syria. I'm talking to them and other sources, and what the Syrians are saying is very different than what the media is portraying. Following the latest attack on the Christians in Mar Elias Church in Damascus, and before that, the attack on the Druze where they try to kill, murder, and kidnap their daughters, Druze students had to flee all the way from Damascus, still sitting at their homes, can't go to universities. Following the massacre of innocent Alawites all across Syria, where we saw these horrific videos of them barking like dogs and walking in the streets, executing them, daughters and children in front of their parents, the minorities in Syria are terrified. The minorities in Syria are actually most concerned right now as we speak by the normalization that the West is trying to do with Golani. So the West is hoping, yes, let's try to make it work. Let's go into the negotiation table with Golani. But if you talk to the Syrians, they're saying the complete opposite. That is the worst nightmare they can see because they still see Golani, al-Sharaa, they still see him as a terrorist. I mean, he does have very impressive track record of doing almost everything terrorists can do. He was in ISIS, he was in al-Qaeda, he went on and started his own al-Qaeda branch, and he was ordered by ISIS to go and take control over Syria, which if you want to look at it that way, he actually did. He took over Syria, and now he is running this government on behalf of his jihadists. At least that's how the Syrians are watching it. Now, why do I want us to talk about this? Because it's very easy to fall to this narrative that if we give money to terrorists in the Middle East, and if we ask them nicely to try to become a democracy and open Starbucks and Kentucky Fried Chicken, then things will be solved. But that never worked. In the Middle East, there's a serious problem. And in Syria, the problem is Sunni right now. I'll say that again. The problem is the radical Sunnis that have control over this country. They see this conflict as a religious conflict. Either they're trying to oppress anyone who's not Sunni, or they're going in the defense and saying, you're attacking us because we are Sunni. I'm all for a greater Syria. I'm all for this country to get out of the ashes of the destruction, of the oppression of the Bashar al-Assad regime and the Iranian regime that was in it, the Muslim Brotherhood that completely came and destroyed this country with Hezbollah, with Hamas, with everyone involved. Like literally, it was a Mad Max of the Arab world. I want them to become a better country, but I think the real benchmark that we can check if they're doing better or not is the minorities. How are they treating the Christians? How are they treating the Druze? How are they treating the Alawites? How are they treating the Yazidis, the Kurds, and etc. and etc. Regarding the attack on that church, here's a very important thing to notice. The attacker allegedly, I mean, social media is trying to hide. I've been researching this for hours, trying to find information about it, but they're trying to hide it and push it, which make you think whenever the media is trying to hide the identity of a terrorist, it usually means that it's something that will go against their agenda. And in this case, from what we know from the Syrian people that I've been talking to, the terrorist was a known figure that was walking around Damascus with a pickup truck and a big megaphone trying to make people to convert to Islam, sending this, to all the infidels around. Come to Islam, join this religion of peace before it's too late. Later on, he decided to go and take matters to his own hands. So he grabbed a suicide vest, he grabbed a machine gun, and allegedly he was not on his own. He had a team of 2 to 3 people with him that were planning to come when all the people come to run to their families to go and suicide bomb on everyone. Ended up fleeing, catching them up. I don't know, the media there, the Syrian government is trying to hide and hush it. But what we know is when he went into that church and started shouting Allahu Akbar, he kind of got stopped at the entrance to that church by very brave Christian men who went and started confronting him, trying to fight him off. So he started shooting at everybody, Allahu Akbar. And when the brave men and women jumped and tried to stop the massacre, he went and did another Allahu Akbar and blew himself up, killing approximately 25 Christians, injuring more than 60. Some probably succumbed to their injuries later on, so the numbers might be even higher. But what a tragic and vile way of thinking about life. You come and you say, I'm going to go and I'm going to murder as many as I can. And I know they're going to try to stop me. So what I'm going to do to prevent these brave men and women from stopping me, I'm going to also blow myself up on them and killing them all in the name of Allah. Now, here's a very interesting part as well. As per the Syrians, that terrorist was connected to the government. He was an ex-HTS soldier, operator, you name it. He had military graded C4 on him and weapons. And apparently by some of the testimony that came out of the field, the local authorities not only knew about the attack that was happening, they didn't do anything to stop it. They had a chance to intervene and to stop it, but they didn't get involved, which shows you again that the government in Syria is again and again failing to take control over the madness that is happening in Syria, failing to stop the massacre and genocide attempt of minorities, either because they're incompetent or because it's deliberate. These questions are serious questions that are still on the table, but regardless, it should be something very concerning for the Western community. When you want to say, let's meet on the negotiation table, let's lift the sanctions over Syria so we can help them get a better future, you need to be careful that you're not ending up like Gaza 2.0. When they lift the sanctions for humanitarian aid, for financial support to Gaza, for 16 years, we saw what happened. They didn't build schools. They didn't improve the infrastructure of that country. They didn't start creating science programs. They didn't promote art and coexistence. Stole all that money to build dungeons and bunkers under the ground, whole tunnel infrastructure that they used later on to orchestrate October 7 and hide in these bunkers while stealing their own people's food and not providing shelter for their own people and actually using their own people as human shields. Because of why? Because they know it works on you. It works on people in the West. When we start seeing images of dead babies, women, and children, we start feeling really bad. And then we come and say, stop it. Let's stop this war. It's too much. Ceasefire now. And the terrorists win. They've literally managed to find a hack. I call it the radical Muslim startup world. What they do is they hijack a nation. They oppress that nation, they control the education system, they raise the generations of radical jihadists, anti-Semite, anti-West, anti-Christians, and then when they're so poor and oppressed, they blame it on the West, and then the West feels bad about it, starts sending them money, and they take that money to buy weapons, a means of massacre and mass destructions of genocide, and then they go and they do what they've been saying that they want to do. Death to America, death to Israel, whatever, death to anyone. And then what happened is they kidnap women and children, they run with these women and children, they hide them, and they use their own civilians as human shields, and then the West comes and tries to rescue these women and children, and collateral damage happened because these cowards are hiding behind their children, and then the West comes and says, stop it, it's not fair, it's evil, apartheid, genocide, throwing all kinds of empty words that they have no idea what they mean to the air, and later on the international pressures the Western community to stop fighting and eradicating this kind of evil, and it lets it continue. So they saw that working in Gaza, and now they're trying maybe to do that in Syria. And that is something that we need to pay attention to. We can't ignore that. And I'm telling you, that is something that is terrifying the people in Syria. And I would even add something that is terrifying the people of Iran. One of the biggest fear of the free people of Iran was that after this attack by Israel on their nuclear facility and America came and joined, which obviously was the right thing to do to prevent this radical Ayatollah regime to have a nuclear bomb, that the people will be left with the same regime. And then their situation is going to get worse than before because they opened up, they went outside and says, yes, we support you. We don't hate the West. We don't hate the Jews. We want a better life. And now they're public. Now people know who they are. They're taking names. And then the West does what he needs to do, get out of there and start sending them money. What do you think these governments are going to do? The situation of the innocent free people in Syria and Iran is just going to get worse. The Christians, the Druze, the Alawites, the atheists, anyone, the Muslims, the free, peace-loving Muslims that are living there, the situation is just going to get worse. So you end up falling into this trap, into this ecosystem that radical jihadists have created that just works perfectly for them. They collect the money, they collect the loot, they collect the prize and the honor, and they just destroy the entire country. And who helps them? The West, either deliberately or indeliberately by falling to their trap. So I just want to bring that to your attention. Don't forget about the people in Syria, and the best benchmark to see if Syria is becoming a better Syria or not is the minorities. It's the Christians, it's the Druze, it's the Alawites, it's the Kurd, and any other minority that is living there and just want to live in peace. Stay safe. See you next time.